Ben Solo was the son of Rebel Alliance heroes Leia Organa and Han Solo. Being Force sensitive, the youngster was sent away to be trained by his uncle, Luke Skywalker. Though Ben showed great potential in the Force, he shared too many traits with his grandfather, Anakin Skywalker, which corrupted him into the evil Darth Vader. Obsessed with the latter, Ben slowly became inspired to be like him, eventually feeling like he had to uphold Vader's legacy. Ben's first step towards that goal was to break away from his Jedi training and kill his peers. Falling down the path to the dark side, Ben ensured his uncle was unable to restore the Jedi Order. Ben's transformation was complete when he fell under the influence of Snoke, a mysterious Force user. He soon became Snoke's apprentice before joining the Knights of Ren. In order to destroy his former identity, Ben donned the name Kylo Ren. The next step for Ren was to build his own lightsaber, which he did using an unstable kyber crystal, making the blade distorted and unlike any other typical lightsaber. In addition, he began wearing a helmet based on designs the Knights of Ren used. Becoming the lead enforcer to destroy the Resistance, an organisation which opposed the First Order, Kylo began hunting down his uncle. Destroying the Last Jedi would not only damper the Resistance's chances of defeating the First Order, but it would also mean a final end to the Jedi. The First Order and Resistance were in a race against each other to find a map leading to Skywalker. The former had obtained most of the map due to archives from the Galactic Empire, however one piece was missing and it was on Jakku. Unfortunately for the First Order, the enemy's base pilot had reached the desert planet first and received the map from Lor San Tekka. Kylo Ren had squads of stormtroopers attack the village of Twanul, using brute force to obtain the map. Ren landed on the planet in his command shuttle to oversee the final stages of the assault. He had Tekka brought to him, a man he knew from his life as Ben Solo. Ren seemed to have anticipated the meeting for some time and asked for the map. The villager never complied. Instead, Tekka reminded Ren that he was a good man from a good family. Kylo grew tired of the old man and executed him, driving his unique lightsaber down and through Tekka's defenceless body. In response to this, Poe Dameron jumped from cover and fired at him, but the powerful Force user stopped the bow in midair. He decided to have Dameron taken prisoner. Whilst on his way back to his ship, Ren locked stairs with a stormtrooper who was not following the latest command, not murdering the gathered, weaponless villagers. With more pressing matters, Kylo continued to his ship. Aboard the Finalizer, Ren reintroduced himself to the Resistance's best pilot, who was tightly secured in a holding cell. He wasn't shy in telling Dameron that his quest for revenge was a thoughtless and futile decision. Following Poe's refusal to reveal the location of the map, the masked figure tortured his mind with the Force. He discovered that the prized possession was held within a droid, a regular BB unit. With the information, the First Order prepared to redeploy on Jakku. However, not long after, sirens triggered throughout the Finalizer. Two men had stolen a Special Forces TIE fighter and began firing at First Order forces before leaving the hangar area. Kylo made his way to General Hux, questioning if Dameron had escaped. Not only had the pilot fled custody, but he was helped by a stormtrooper. Before the ship's command staff could ascertain the rogue trooper, Ren knew it was FN-2187, the soldier he had noticed failing to follow an order on Jakku. Although the Finalizer managed to shoot down the TIE fighter, Ren questioned whether or not stormtroopers could find the droid on Jakku. After all, FN-2187 proved they were not the greatest at following orders. Ren made it no secret that a clone army may have been a better option for the First Order's armies rather than indoctrinating human children. Following Kylo's rant on Hux's soldiers, the general felt a need to stand his ground, reminding his colleague to not let his personal feelings over Luke Skywalker get in the way of their mission. But his words fell on deaf ears, with Ren telling Hux to find the map. Later, Lieutenant Mitaka approached Ren. Reluctantly, he told the masked figure that the First Order's forces were unable to stop the BB-8 droid from departing Jakku aboard a Corellian freighter. Sarcastically, he asked the lieutenant if the droid had stolen the ship itself. When Mitaka told him it was held by FN-2187, Kylo could not withhold his rage. After destroying a console with his lightsaber, he asked if there was anything else he should know. The lieutenant gulped and informed Ren that the two were accompanied by a local girl. It was a good job Kylo's face was hidden behind a mask. Unfortunately, he couldn't also mask the anger flowing through his body. Mitaka suddenly felt himself being thrown towards Ren's hand, neck first. As he tightened his grip, the enraged figure demanded to know who the girl was. Following the bad news, he headed to Starkiller Base, seeking help. He spoke with Snoke, who appeared on a hologram, who told Ren that he had felt an awakening in the Force. Furthermore, the Supreme Leader informed his student that the BB-8 droid was aboard the Millennium Falcon, which was once more in the possession of Ren's father. The conversation ended with Kylo telling his master that Solo meant nothing to him, and his journey to the dark side would soon be complete. Not long after, the First Order received word that the droid had been spotted in a cantina on the planet Takodana. Knowing time was of the essence, the faction prepared their forces for another planetary assault. Shortly after Starkiller Base destroyed the Hosnian system, the First Order attacked Maz Kanata's castle. When Ren landed on the planet, he was told BB-8 had fled into the nearby woods. He never found the droid, however he did come across a girl, who he assumed was the one to help FN-2187 and the droid escape Jakku. Scared, Rey fired her pistol at the advancing masked figure. After toying with her, easily blocking the shots, Kylo froze the girl where she stood, using the same force technique displayed in Twano. He circled her, carefully studying the girl. He knew the girl was special somehow, she was important in some way. He wondered who she was exactly. In order to find out, he raised his hand and attempted to access her mind. Maybe she wasn't special after all, the girl was just a Jakku scavenger. Ren discovered she had begun to care for the First Order traitor, but more importantly, he realised she had viewed the map. At that moment, stormtroopers rushed towards Ren, telling him that resistance fighters had arrived. Though he wasn't appointed to make battlefield decisions, Kylo knew no officer would attempt to overrule him. Knowing he could use the girl to find the location of Luke Skywalker, he decided to have the First Order's forces withdraw from the planet. After rendering his prisoner unconscious, Ren carried the girl to his shuttle. His shuttle then departed for Starkiller Base. Ren waited for the girl to regain consciousness. Rey was disturbed by the fact she was restrained in a cell and that she never knew of the fate of her allies. After some back and forth comments, the girl provoked Ren in taking off his mask. Rey was surprised by the young-looking face which appeared. No longer was Ren the faceless, ruthless Kylo Ren, he was more like his former self, just corrupted. Ren asked about the droid and the map, but the girl was very uncooperative. In response, he raised his hand and attempted to breach her mind once more. He discovered how lonely the girl was, and he pictured her tranquil visions of an island in the sea. Furthermore, he knew she had come to respect Han Solo, but he quickly told her that he was a terrible father. However, as Ren continued to probe, the girl somehow built a tolerance to his games, and actually managed to reverse the operation. Before Kylo could fully understand what was happening, Rey told him he was afraid he wouldn't be as strong as Darth Vader. Astonished, Ren withdrew his hand, donned his mask, and headed out the cell. In the corridors of Starkiller Base, he found himself out of breath and confused. However, he gathered himself to face Snoke. In the assembly chamber of Starkiller Base, the Supreme Leader expressed his disappointment in Ren that a measly scavenger was able to resist him. In defense, he told Snoke that the girl was powerful in the Force, untrained but more powerful than the girl knew. Moving on to other pressing matters, the Supreme Leader questioned where the droid was, and was disappointed to hear Ren had chosen the girl over BB-8. After deciding to have the Ilenium system destroyed, where the Resistance's base was held, Snoke ordered Ren to have the female prisoner brought to him. With the First Order's hopes of finding Luke Skywalker relying on the scavenger, Ren rushed back to her cell. Unfortunately, she had managed to escape, which enraged Kylo. Falling into another tantrum, he scorched the chair where the girl once sat restrained. After calming down, he ensured the base was on high alert. He knew that the longer the girl was free, allowing her time to discover her powers, the more dangerous she would become. Not long after, he sensed his father had made his way onto the planet. He was soon on the search for both Rey and the Resistance intruders. As Ren was paused on a long walkway over a vast drop in a massive open room, he heard his father shout, "Ben!" Solo approached Ben and told him to take off the mask, hoping to see his son. As much as Ren tried to tell Han that Ben Solo was no more, his father refused to believe it. The confrontation gathered onlookers, which included stormtroopers and Han's crew of Chewbacca, Finn, the renamed FN-2187, and Rey. Solo told his son that Snoke was using him and that he would be pushed aside once finished with. Furthermore, he asked Ben to come home with him, rejoin his family. Ren began to tear up, claiming he was being torn apart. He wanted to be free of the pain he felt. He asked Solo if he would help him. Without a moment's hesitation, Han agreed. He would do anything for his son. Kylo held out his hilt for Solo to take. His father reached out and grabbed the weapon. However, Ren was reluctant to let go. Before Han knew it, the lightsaber's blade had pierced his chest. He thanked his father for helping him get rid of the light side that was still in him. Before Solo fell off the walkway, he stroked his son's cheek, hoping there was still good in him. In outrage of Ren's action, Chewbacca fired his bowcaster at him, which slammed into his side. However, he got back up to chase the fleeing Rey and Finn. In the snowy forests of Starkiller Base, Rey and Finn encountered Ren. The latter threw Rey through the air with a powerful telekinetic blast, knocking her unconscious. Left to only face Finn in the meantime, Kylo demanded the traitor hand over the lightsaber he was clutching in his hands, a saber once belonging to his grandfather. Finn refused to, and so a duel broke out. After being grazed on the arm, Ren quickly ended the unmatched fight, disarming him before viciously striking Finn across the back and spine. Kylo then turned his attention to the lightsaber which had become planted in the snow nearby. He pulled at it through the force, but as the hilt was coming his way, it sharply adjusted its course, flying past Ren's face and landing in the hand of the standing Rey. Both of their lightsabers soon clashed. The masked figure expected to meet a weak defence, however, he was only met with strength. Knowing he needed to draw on all of his anger to win the duel, Ren began beating the wound on his side from the bowcaster shot earlier. The fight went back and forth, without either of them gaining the upper hand for long. As the world was slowly imploding due to the Resistance's efforts to destroy Starkiller Base, a huge chunk of the forest fell away behind Rey. As she tiptoed on the edge, locking sabres with Ren, the latter told her that he could train her in the Force to harness her raw talent. She refused before closing her eyes. Ren wondered what his opponent was doing, but he soon felt a change in the air and a change in her. Out of nowhere, Rey became immensely powerful, striking Ren with ferocity she never knew she had. Before long, Kylo was on the defensive and was struggling. He soon found himself unarmed and on the ground, fresh from Rey slashing his face. However, before Ren could be finished off, a massive rift opened up between the two fighters due to the continuing destruction of the world. As Rey ran for Finn, General Hux arrived with a squad of troopers, who were alerted to Kylo's position from a tracker on his belt. Snoke's only order to the General was to safely recover Ren, so he chose not to pursue Rey, not that there was time to anyway. The First Order may have been dealt a huge blow with the destruction of Starkiller Base, but they were not going to respond lightly. Furthermore, the Supreme Leader had plans to finish Ren's training. Now it's time for this week's question. Did you like Kylo Ren's portrayal in The Force Awakens? And do you think he'll be a complete badass in the sequel? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and for more Star Wars The Force Awakens lore, keep it locked here to the Kyrgyzstans. Today's top 10 will be looking more at the aesthetic nature of the hilts and their uniqueness rather than their effect on the galaxy. Without any further ado, let's look at the top 10 Star Wars lightsaber hilts.